Okay, day 330, I went ahead and submitted the evidence based on Laurel's testimony. I'm sorry I have to do this level of fact checking. I just have to put it out there. The problem with the background checking is from an intelligence point of view is knowing the vulnerabilities, identifying the vulnerabilities. Why would an operative want to go after her? And everybody says, oh, he just owned 12 homes and, he just is putting renters in homes. No, he's not. He's accessing the congressional network. Imran Awan, with a team of people, is accessing the congressional network. We've got 3 different crimes here with reports that are being suppressed. Okay, we've got the February 2016. We've got the February 2nd, or whenever, I believe it was the night of the inauguration, it was discovered February the 2nd, the burglaries. But then we also have the John Wilkes Booth access on April 6th, 2017. So we're not talking about somebody who's renting 12 different houses in Virginia. We're talking about somebody who's targeting a network. We're talking about somebody who's targeting a network. He's got all these used car contacts. He's got all these contacts with shipping companies. He's got all these contacts with UAE diplomats. He's not a normal run-of-the-mill person who owns 12 houses and is making $160,000 a year in Congress, okay? So that's why I have to put so much emphasis on identifying targets. Zoe and Freitag was a target, so I had to put a lot of emphasis on that. The other thing I have to identify now is, in her capacity, I don't want to know what she does, what Laurel does, but does she have access to the congressional network? Does she have a congressional email, for instance? Does she have access to the US FCR database, the Contractors Registration Database, the Federal Contractors Registration Database? A lot of times compliance officers will have to have access to the US FCR. If you have access to the US FCR, you also know who won the bid and how they're performing. And then someone like an Imran Awan could take that information and then use it to win the bid over for his companies. So it can be misused. The contract information can be misused. So that's why I need to know if in Laurel's business that she was doing, if she had access to the US FCR or a contractor database or a compliance database like the CDW, like the big compliance database that Brilliant was working on with an E. Brilliant was working on this big compliance database. Did Laurel have access to that database? This is not about trying to out anybody or hurt anybody. It's just standard background checking. Have to identify the targets. Why would this person target this person? Everybody says, oh no, he just needed to rent it. What happens is once someone models the target, somebody models somebody coming through, they let them go on and do something else. That person becomes a vector for an Imran Awan later and can be used again and again and again. So I'm just trying to identify targets and why they might have targeted Laurel. That's all I'm trying to do. And it is a tedious process. It requires lots and lots of checking of lots of different sources. And so that's why I'm going through all this trouble. Okay? So I went ahead and put the evidence in based on the video, but I just need to know if she had access to the US FCR or any other kind of compliance database, federal compliance database for contracts, not just the EEOC for the case files, not just individual case files. Let's say she's a case manager, she had 10 case files. That's way different than having access to the database. Once an Imran Awan gets access to a database like that, he can go from A to Z. He can go from A to Z, just like he did with the CDW contract. He put Muhammad Z. Awan with Brilliant. So that's what I'm saying is we have to look at what she had access to. That's what he's interested in. He wants to go for that US FCR or some other kind of compliance database, the CDW compliance database. I hope that makes sense. I'm just trying to do what the FBI normally would do in this situation, but for some reason has decided not to do.